What an honor and a privilege to be a part of the Carlsbad Veterans Memorial Park dedication here today. To say this is a great project is a complete understatement. Throughout the ceremony, you're going to learn what is here and what is coming. I, along with the Carlsbad City Council members, are so proud of the people that conceived it.
Go ahead.
And have brought it to fruition. The people I'm talking about are the members of the City of Carlsbad Veterans Memorial Board. This project is going forward with dedication and as a labor of love. I predict today that when this park is finished, it will be among the finest in the country. I want to introduce the members. Joe Epstein, the chairman. Jim Dickman, the vice chairman. Charlie Daniels. Where's Charlie?
Way back there.
Way in the back.
Get out there, Charlie.
Paul Hill. Right there.
Let's get over there.
Mario Salinas. Where's Mario? Bill Hollenkamp.
He's honor guard over at the flag.
Oh, okay. Jody Blankenship.
She couldn't make it.
Oh, okay. Consela Gonzalez, staff person for the board, is Luis Renteria. Is Luis here today? He has done a great job in working with the board. What a great job they all have done. I want to also introduce some elected officials that we have here today. And over here we have Councilman Judy Waters. Of course, Congressman Pierce back here. State Representative Catherine Brown. Commissioner Roxanne Lara. Back over here. And of course, Guy Lutman behind the camera here. Yeah, Judge Redford. And next to him is Judge Castaneda.
Two judges.
Paul Aguilar.
Oh, Paul, you snuck in there. Kansas City Councilman Paul Aguilar. Oh, Judge John Caraway back there. You snuck in too.
Tom Rutledge is back there.
Tom Rutledge is here.
Where's Tom?
There he is. There he is.
Oh, Tom Rutledge is. Yeah, interim city manager John Tully. Former city councilman Jim Grantner's here, right back here too. Did we miss anybody?
If any. Oh, county clerk.
Well, Joe Epstein is going to join me now, and Joe's going to recognize the families of the Carlsbad Veterans KIA from Vietnam.
I'm not sure that I have all of the families identified, so if I do not identify you, you have to hold up your hand and instruct me. But Scott Maxwell is right here. Jane was married to Roger Sawyers. Family members. Oh yes, now from Cleveland, Ohio, we have Judy DeForest. Judy was married to Jack Silliman, remarried, and now Judy DeForest. She was Judy Henderson. The Hendersons are still here. There is a sister, her sister, and here as well. Are there any other family members?
Montañez.
Oh, Montañez. Excuse me. Mike Montañez. By the way, the wording on here is exactly the wording on the Vietnam Wall. And the sequence is exactly as the Vietnam Wall for Carlsbad veterans, home of record. Some people may know of another veteran who was here, but he didn't enlist out of here, so his home of record is elsewhere. And we may recognize those on a brick, but this is the Vietnam Wall veterans. Jerry is also back there, Montanez.
That's Miguel's mother.
Oh, good to see you. Nice to meet you. Do we have the brother of Andres Garcia? Every family got this flyer, but if they couldn't make it, then we'll get this information to them afterwards. Now, we also have to recognize another person who came from California for a boot camp buddy of William Michael Thomas, who actually went to high school in El Paso. Extremely difficult to track down because of that. Sel Wong and his wife Violet came from Rosemead, California to be here. The photo that you see there was provided by him. That is very appreciated, very much.
New Mexico State Guard, come forward and give the invitation, please. Let's pray. Oh God, we come to you today grateful for these men and women who have served and who have paid the ultimate price in the defense of our freedom. Lord, we ask that you would be with this time as we remember, as we think back, that this would be a time when we are grateful for what we have here in this country. We would also ask that you would place your hand of protection over those men and women who are currently serving, especially those who are in the field of battle at this time. We pray this now in your name, God. Amen. Tim, you? We're honored today to have Congressman Steve Pierce. Steve is a decorated Vietnam aviator, a great friend of all veterans, and a great friend of Carlsbad. Congressman Pierce.
Thank you very much. You know, coming in before this wall today and you think back to my junior high years and the kids that I knew there and kids that didn't come home. You know that Carlsbad is exceptional in remembering the veterans, and this memorial right behind us is a testament not just to the sacrifice that a community makes, but the willingness to remember and the willingness to make a stance and say that we as a community appreciate. Howard Rice was just a black kid on the high school track team over at Hobbs, and he graduated. Couldn't go to college and went to Vietnam. Erwin Cruz, I worked for his dad out in the oil field, and we were the same age. We were over at Heiser Junior High together. And when I'd come back in the summers from college, worked for Erwin's dad, was working out in the field with him when Erwin lost his life in Vietnam. Stan McPherson was a year older. He was an officer. He'd graduated from college and then gone on over, and he didn't come home. But these stories are stories that are ingrained in the fabric of our communities, and we should feel the pain of the wall behind us more than what we do. We should remember the families who are here that have lived with that pain for decades. I'll tell you, I didn't volunteer. I was a junior at New Mexico State University when I got a notice that Dr. Badger called me, and I was at the dorm room, and she said, we're going to select you. We put your birthday at number 23 on the list. We got to that in September last year. I want you to go down tomorrow, and we're going to have you take a physical today. And that's how suddenly that your life was changing back then, the draft board. And I said, ma'am, I'm going places you don't understand. I'm the first, my brother's in college, I'm in college, nobody's ever been in college. She said, you're going places, you're going to Vietnam. And it was pretty sudden. I said, well, how about if I get an ROTC? Now, keep in mind, the two biggest fears I had all my life growing up, the two big fears, one of dying, and for some reason, as, 3, 4, 5, 10-year-old, I was afraid of dying, and the second one was flying. She said, you're going down to El Paso today, and I said, well, how about if I get an ROTC? I went down to ROTC, and they said, yeah, if you'd gotten an ROTC last year when we tried to get you to get in, we had slots, but now then the only thing we have left are flying slots. It seems like God has a plan to make each one of us deal with our fears. I ended up flying and facing my fears, and I'm better for it today, and the country is better for it, because all of us have fears, and when we decide that there's something more important than our own selves, that's when a nation is great. And the pictures and the names on the wall made that decision, and we should remember. In the city of Carlsbad, you need to feel a sense of pride in Joe and the mayor and the committee that has put this together, because not many towns do this. Most towns, maybe they're standing out in a parade with no names and no histories. This needs to be a personal thing. The sacrifices or our memories become faded, and they become general. General remembrances do not motivate us. It's those specific remembrances that will cause us to act and be different. And so for today, this has been a very touching thing for me. God bless you all. Thank you.
I'd ask Lynn Ditto to come forward, please. Where's Lynn? Lynn's representing Senator Jeff Bingaman.
Good afternoon. It is indeed a pleasure to be here, and actually it's a privilege. Thank you so much. Senator Bingaman has asked me to read the following message. Each Veterans Day is an occasion when we, as a nation, reflect on and show gratitude to those who served or are currently serving in our military and their families as well. On this Veterans Day, I'd like to thank New Mexico veterans for their commitment to protect our country. Today marks the dedication of the Carlsbad Veterans Memorial Park, including the major monument honoring Carlsbad veterans on the Vietnam Wall. As we pause to view this monument, let us remember the sacrifices our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen have made in serving our nation where and when they were needed. New Mexicans have a long and proud history of military service, from the time of the Spanish-American War to the modern conflict in Iraq and Afghanistan. While the needs may be different, America's obligation to our veterans holds true regardless of whether one served in World War II, Vietnam, or has only recently returned from a tour of duty. To honor this noble service, I am working with others in the Congress to ensure all our veterans continue to have access to quality and affordable health care, to receive full payment of their benefits, and that our veterans have the support they need to get a college education or other training to enter the nation's workforce. Yes, today we honor the service of all of our veterans, but let us not limit our appreciation of their sacrifice to one day each year. To this end, I pledge to continue working in the Senate on their behalf, and once again extend my sincere appreciation and thanks to veterans and their families for all the sacrifices they have made. I extend my sincere appreciation to Joe Epstein and the Veterans Memorial Park Committee for your tireless work to make the Carlsbad Memorial a reality. And thank you.
We have Beverly Allen representing Senator Tom Udall.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for letting me be here to say a word from my boss, Senator Tom Udall. Thank you for inviting me to share a few words. I wish I could be here with you in person. On Veterans Day, we honor the perseverance and sacrifice of the men and women of our armed services, and as you all know, here in New Mexico, we have a strong legacy of heroes. Maybe you're one of them, or maybe you have a hero in your family. Earlier this year, I was honored to participate in a ceremony to award U.S. Army Specialist 4th Class Perry Benally of Tallahatchie the Silver Star for his valiant actions in Vietnam. Each time I'm able to meet with one of our military heroes, I grow more thankful for the sacrifices they and their families have made for our country. Our veterans answered the call to serve our country, and for that we are indebted to you. Our brave soldiers know the meaning of commitment and duty, and we need to show them that we understand it too. While Veterans Day helps us remember all that our service members have done for us, it's also a reminder of what we owe them and and their families in return. We must do what we can to help veterans who have changed by their experience at war. Whether that change is physical or emotional, we must commit to serving them during this transition back to civilian life. This means providing quality care to veterans suffering from both visible and invisible wounds. Traumatic brain injury and post-traumatic stress disorder also impact many returning veterans. But for many veterans, particularly in New Mexico, are far from facilities that can assist them with these invisible wounds. I've called for a new polytrauma rehab center to be built in southern New Mexico, and believe that the VA should consider Fort Bayard Medical Center or Fort Bayard in Silver City as a location to help provide care to veterans across the southern part of our state. Our commitment to our veterans must be as strong as their commitment to our nation. Vets coming home shouldn't face unemployment or homelessness. They shouldn't get an opportunity to pursue the American dream. That's the freedom and liberty that they fight to defend, and we owe it to our veterans to make that dream a reality. We must honor our commitments to our soldiers and from every generation and remember their sacrifices, not just on Veterans Day, but every day. Thank you. Sincerely, Senator Tom Udall. And if I could just say that we also want to, from the Allen family and my Uncle Don, who was best friends with Calvin Mexa, we honor him.
I would like to introduce a very important member of this whole park decorating scheme, David Sadler, his wife Cindy, the monument builder Sadler and Son Hobbs. David and Cindy donated the Spanish-American War plaque, 54 by 61 Spanish-American War. We have 4 veterans from the Spanish-American War in the Carlsbad Cemetery. He donated that monstrous plaque. Thank you, David. The trees that are planted here were, we received some consulting from Dean Brummett, horticulturalist of the Living Desert, and I notice Ken is here. Thank you, Ken, for that. And the Carlsbad chapter, Vietnam Veterans of America, paid for those. American sycamore, and by the way, Jim Dickman has got everything marked, you can see, but those American sycamore along the river, deep rooting systems, it will stabilize that bank. These desert willows at the end of the walkway will shade that as well. So thank you, Jim. Thank you, Living Desert. Appreciate it very much. Thank you, Dean.
You help me with this, Joey.
Okay.
Why don't you ask the honor guard to raise the flag up?
Honor Guard, hoist the colors. Please join me in the national anthem. Honor Guard, salute. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, bombs bursting in air, gave proof to the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Honor guard, ready, hoot! We are now going to have the dedication of the Vietnam Monument, and the ribbon cutting dedication is going to be performed by Vietnam veteran disabled Ray Fabre, Artesia, New Mexico.
Thank God, I hope it don't get stuck.
Yes. This concludes the dedication ceremony of the park. No, yes. This almost concludes the ceremony.
You can never do this without a proclamation. Joe, if you would come forward, please. Whereas the Carlsbad Veterans Memorial Park Committee was established by City Ordinance number 2009-14 in December 2009 to plan, design, and select a location for the Carlsbad Veterans Memorial Park. And whereas the committee subsequently selected the Bataan Recreation Area for the park, which site was approved by the City Council, and whereas the committee planned and executed several successful fundraising events and donation solicitation activities, including in-kind services involving many commercial businesses, organizations, and citizens to fund park walkway, monument, and memorial plaques. And whereas the participation and contribution of scores of veterans families, and citizens have funded the successful park commemoration brick project, and whereas these activities have resulted in a beautiful, serene site for veterans and their families and for citizens and visitors to recognize the service of veterans and recognize that freedom isn't free. Therefore, this day, Veterans Day, 11/11/11, is proclaimed as Carlsbad Veterans Memorial Park Day. Joe?
Thank you.
We do have another person here that was not recognized, the State President, Vietnam Veterans of America, Greg Neal. We'd like you to spend some time and look around. The committee members will be here to answer any questions. Understand that this is a work in progress. We're going to be doing this for several years. So we will have many dedications along the way.
Joe,
Meg.
can you still buy bricks?
Yeah.
Oh, the bricks, we have the farms here for buying a commemorative brick and donating. Jim reminded me of that. We will be doing donations all along because that's how we build things. We didn't have any money. Thank you very much.
wonderful memorial and a wonderful job done by everybody. It's great that we have an opportunity to get more bricks in. I know I'm going to get my parents in. Randy's parents are going to get in, or Randy's dad is going to get in there. And we are going to just make this a rockin' place where everybody can remember their families and friends and the net of service that supports this country is going to be open to everybody.
Danny Carroll, I'm a member of the Carlsbad VBA, and this whole event has been long coming for all the veterans. And this man to my left here, which is a World War II vet, is what it's all about. You know, we learn from them, and we hope to help any of these new veterans if they need help with benefits or anything. Please contact the Carlsbad VBA chapter. Thank you.
My name is Sel Wong. I served with the Marine Rifle Company in Vietnam in '68. At that time, I also go to Vietnam with my best friend, William Thomas. Unfortunately, we were separated. He went to 26th Marine and I went to the 7th Marines. After I was served about 4 months in Vietnam, I was wounded and returned home to a ungrateful nation and sort of put everything behind me and try to get on life with the best I can. But all through the year, I did not forget my good friends that I left behind.
Effort there that everyone went into today, especially Joe and his staff in planning this, and it's really fantastic, especially when you can look down and see one that brick there in your name.